What's up, everybody? Thanks for coming back to the Ventura County Squawk Box. My name is Andres. In this episode, we speak to Councilmember Bryan MacDonald from the city of Oxnard. He gives us his history on the council, what he did prior to running for Oxnard City Council. His history goes back way before he was ever involved in politics. You hear how his family always talks about a certain story about how they should have purchased some property in Oxnard, but who would want to live on the beach with all that sand and water? So take a listen. And as always, if you have any questions for the guests on the show, please drop a comment or email me, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Okay, Council Member Bryan MacDonald, District 4, which happens to be my district in the city of Oxnard. Thank you for making time for me today. This is from my research, your fourth term on the council. So, districting or breaking it up into districts relatively new. How do you think that's going? Is that a good thing? Do you prefer the other way? What are your thoughts?
I originally, when we talked about going to districts because of a mandate, I was a little concerned about it, but actually I don't have a problem with it now. It seems to work out well. It puts me closer to my constituents who obviously live all around me, but we still do things in other parts of the city, even though we're district oriented. And I'll use the example of, for many years, I've been working on the Halico project, trying to get that hazardous slag heap removed, the hazardous material, restore the wetlands. And when we went to districts, I offered that to one of my peers who it's in her district. And she said, no, you can keep it. And I said,
yeah.
I said, okay, that's fine. Because I'm probably the most familiar with it. And that's been an ongoing project. So while we are assigned to districts, I think we all adequately also represent the entire city, because that's really what we're supposed to be doing. So
good. And how did you start off on the council? What made you decide to run the first time?
I was having a dinner with a friend next door, and I made a comment of, I should run for council and just see what it turns out. And he said, that's a great idea. I'll support you. And the rest is history. So.
The Ventura County Squawk Box is brought to you by the Ventura County Financial Times, the only Ventura County magazine that focuses on financial matters local to Ventura County, written by financial experts within the county. Visit us at vcfinancialtimes.com to sign up to be a writer or contributor to the magazine, to ask about advertising, or to subscribe. Launching in winter 2021. And now back to the show. And how have you seen? I mean, I've seen how the city has changed, but how have you seen from a council perspective how the city has changed in your 4 terms?
We've had some rough years, and with the pandemic, it's been even rougher. But this year, we are looking at the first positive budget that we've had in I don't know how many years, where we're not talking about layoffs, not talking about funding cuts. We're actually doing very well. And I think we're on the right track to a brighter future for Oxnard. Our city is older than a lot of other cities. It's showing its age a little bit. And it's time for us to start doing stuff to get things back to looking good, watering, cutting weeds, mowing parks, doing all the stuff that is really important to people, so they have a nice place to recreate, nice place to look at. And, I'm excited about that. I think it's going to be a good year for us.
Yeah, I definitely see that driving around the city. It is showing its age. What was your background before joining the council?
My background before I was a police officer. I worked for the city of Oxnard Police Department for about a year as a civilian, then about 29 years as a sworn officer.
And the police force, how have you seen that change over the years?
Obviously the city has grown. We're at about 210,000 people now. And right. I know every so often you hear people say, "Oh, defund the police, do this, do that." But I think that the police department is woefully understaffed, much to the point where they go from call to call to call. And while that's a good thing to do and get calls answered, it takes us away from the community-oriented policing aspect that I would like to see us get back to, where the cop is more than someone just drives down the street in a car with his windows all rolled up, that people know them, people talk to them, they feel comfortable around them, and the police officers hear their concerns, and that leads us down a path of taking care of problems before they really become a problem. It's proactive policing instead of reactive policing. And I think that's the model we need to get back to, but with staffing challenges, we just haven't been able to do a good job of it. But I think there's some opportunity there also.
Yeah, I had spoken with, I'm on the CRC. You recommending me for that. Thank you very much for doing so.
Well, thank you for volunteering. I appreciate it. We need all the help we can get.
And we had a conversation with Chief Benitez about recruitment, and he's made it a point to say that they do a lot of active recruiting for, people of Oxnard to be recruited to the police force. And I think I've always said that that's the proper way to do it. It should reflect the people in the community.
Absolutely. It's I know the chief has a real strong focus on bringing in local hires. And it makes perfect sense. You have someone that's been in this city for their whole life growing up. They know the city, they know the people, they know what needs to be done. And to bring them on into a problem-solving role, such as a police officer or someone else, is an important deal. I moved down here in the early 70s with my family after I graduated high school. And I'm from the Santa Barbara area originally. And I always thought, well, maybe when I retire, I'll go back home to Santa Barbara. Well, I decided I like it much better here than I do at Santa Barbara. And no disrespect to the city of Santa Barbara, but Oxnard's a beautiful town. And I live I live right smack in the middle of the city. And I love living here. I love the people that are here. I love the community. I think that's important to bring people on board that share that same view and approach, and especially in our police officers.
Right. So you had mentioned, we're looking at a good year this year. We have a lot of things recently announced. We have the Amazon facility going in on Del Norte. Read an article, 1,500 jobs. I know they're probably an estimate, and no one's holding anybody to that. And the park itself, 53 to 8,700 jobs. Are projects like this important to the council and the city?
Absolutely. I tell people that when my community works, they have money to spend and enjoy themselves, and they'll probably spend it in my community. So the more that people here live and work here, the more they spend their money here, and that helps the city out in terms of sales tax revenue or what have you. And Amazon, in fact, if people want to go to the Oxnard City website, there's a flyer on there now where Amazon is advertising on how to qualify for their jobs, and there's a QR code on the flyers both in English and Spanish. People can go in and see how they qualify, if they qualify, and how to apply for jobs at Amazon. I think it's a huge boon for this community to bring jobs in that will create better conditions for a lot of folks, stimulate the economy. And Colorado does something like this. They call it economic gardening, where if you help someone who's here become more successful, that creates a need for other jobs such as suppliers, vendors, what have you. And it just grows like a garden, except that it's in the business world. So
right. And I also read in that same article from the Star that not only are they're building their facility, but the way I read it is they're also helping to improve, I guess, the infrastructure around their roads and all that kind of stuff. Did I read that correctly? Is that?
Yeah, there are a lot of infrastructure needs in that area: sewer, water, electricity, and so on, streets and that. Gonzales Road will go all the way through to Del Norte eventually, instead of terminating there at Rice. And it's important for a city to have an infrastructure that can support its community.
Any other big names in that park that are coming, or is it still open for I guess recruiting somebody to fill that space?
Um, well, the family that owns it still owns it, but Amazon's coming in to the east of Amazon is a new freezer facility similar to the ones on East 3rd Street that I think primarily will be working in the seafood industry. That's going to be more jobs. We're starting to see more stuff being built in the Northeast area, and it's kind of a double-edged sword. I don't want to pave over everything, and I don't want to make parking lots out of everything. I'd like to keep some greenery around here, but I also think we need to concentrate on jobs for our community and have the jobs here in Oxnard instead of having them, travel to other areas or other counties to get work and drive home at night. That's not fair to the residents. They should be able to get good paying jobs locally.
Yeah, I've always said that Oxnard's biggest, I guess, natural resource is its people, right? There, a lot of people who can and want to work, and yeah, bringing those kind of businesses in that want to hire your people are very important.
Exactly, and we have a lot of people in the labor industry here, in terms of carpenters, electricians, and all that. It'd be nice to have local hires here for those jobs. A lot of those folks have to drive to the Los Angeles area, and it's almost, why am I working if I have to spend so much money to get to the job? It costs me more to get home and back,
right?
Than it does to find something else here. So I'm glad to see us stimulating our economy by bringing jobs in.
And to your point, saying you don't want to pave over everything, I mean, we should, remember what Oxnard is, right? Agricultural jobs have always been a big contributor to Oxnard, and you should always, remember where you came from, right?
Oh, absolutely. And when you watch the laborers, the workforce in the fields and stuff, those are very hardworking people. I know I couldn't do that job. It would probably just wipe me out in a day. But they're the people that we depend on for our food stuff to eat. And I like to eat. I'm not going to be shy about it. But we need to remember who creates and generates that food for us. And they're some of the hardest working people I know.
So what, I guess for this term, what are your goals for I guess yourself and your district in Oxnard?
Well, I think one, economic recovery is obviously a big one, to be able to get back to where we need to be in terms of services to the community, taking care of our parks, our medians, our streets, and that's probably number one on my list. The next high thing on my list is I've been working for about 12 years on this Halico project of, removing the material, removing the blight, and helping to restore that area to its natural resource, so that we can have a beautiful, attractive, visitor-serving area that is a natural beach down in that part of Oxnard. And we don't have that right now. If you want to go to the beach, you really have to go out to 5th Street or somewhere Mandalay Beach Road. We should have an amenity like that in the south of Oxnard too, where you don't have to walk 500 yards. I mean, you can go down Arnold Road and get to the beach, but it's a bit of a hike to get to the water. So, unfortunately, in the 40s and 50s, when cities were developing, nobody wanted to be on the beach. They thought it was a barren wasteland. It was cold, it was wet, it was windy.
Yeah.
So that's why all this industrial stuff ended up out there. Now we're realizing it's a gem, and we shouldn't have done that. But
right,
it takes time to recover and get it what it was.
Yeah, I always thought that there was a big disconnect there in Oxnard, right? We didn't, you have, Santa Barbara where they have lots of recreation and public walkways, and I always felt that we missed that boat over here in Oxnard.
Yeah, I think we did too, and now we've got College Park down the south end, or we're hoping to bring an aquatic center down there for people to have a place to recreate and swim. We need to finish building that out. I live just next door to Campus Park, so I can't really be involved in it because it's a conflict of interest for me. So, but it would be nice to see that done at some point in time. As a resident, I would love to see that done. But again, I can't participate in that. But when I first got elected, I don't know if you've ever been up in the Carmel, Monterey area, but There's a beach up there where they have a boardwalk, a literal boardwalk where you can walk along the edge of the ocean. I'd love to see something like that here.
Yeah, for sure.
Where you can get out and experience the flora, the fauna, the birds and the bees and all that stuff, and just really have a nice time and not realize you're living in a huge city, that you've got a beautiful recreational opportunity.
Yeah, Mayor Zaragoza had an idea I also was talking about with my wife, is like a shuttle from the collection to the beach. I think we're in a special spot where we have freeway access and we have the beach, and we need to find a way to connect those two and play it up there.
Yeah, like the Ojai trolley or something similar, and not only do we have a beautiful beach area, we can have a much more beautiful beach area, but we need to partner with the city of Port Hueneme and make sure that we're all in the same boat, heading in the same direction, trying to make recapture our beach and stuff. I tell friends of mine that my dad came up here in the early 50s with his dad. His dad's telling him, hey, I found this place called Oxnard, and I got an opportunity to buy 10 lots for $500 a lot. And so my dad came up here with him. They looked at it, and my dad told him, he goes, it's cold, it's wet, it's sandy. Nobody will ever pay to live here. and they were oceanfront lots on Ocean Boulevard down in Hollywood by the sea.
Yeah.
For $500 a lot. And they walked away from it. My dad, to the day he died, said that was the worst decision of his life.
Yeah. Well, like you said, it was the times, right? No one wants to be cold, wet, and sandy.
Yeah. It was. Now we're seeing things differently. So
yeah. Okay. Closing up here, is there anything you want to tell your constituents, the city citizens of Oxnard?
Just that I'm honored to be able to work for you. I was honored to serve as a police officer for the years I did. I love this community. I'm honored that the voters still have faith in me for my fourth term, and I'm really hoping to see an end to the Halico site, that we can actually remove that material, get it out of here, do whatever. It's been a long, daunting battle, but I won't forget. And I would encourage people that, if they want to reach out to me, feel free. And I'll give you my phone number. It's 805-857-5236. Feel free to call. I can't always answer the phone, but if you leave a message, I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
And